Hello, I'm Patricia Jordan, and I've written a book on my journey of overcoming depression. It's a self-help autobiography, and I believe that if you take time to read it, then it will help you also. Otherwise, there's no point in me writing it if I didn't think that it wouldn't be of help. Um, I've kept it pretty brief. It's only 120 pages, and it's written for you're a teenager. There's no profanity. There's nothing that would make it R-rated or anything like that. It's just basically my story of how I started out in my young adult years. Um, well, I go a little bit in my childhood, of course. In my young adult years, I had gotten caught up in the drug culture of the 70s, and then I was just by a miracle came out of that. Uh, and I mentioned about that. I was around 3 years into the drug culture. By 75, I had a born again experience, we call it. And uh, then I just stopped doing drugs. I just started living a different life. Uh, and got focused on my career. I was a very young woman living in Atlanta, Georgia. And I go into that in my book, how everything came about, how I was able to get focused on a career. Prior to that, I had left my parents' house at about 1971. So from 71 to 75, I was just a rambling, unfocused, getting deeper and deeper involved in drug culture, kind of a person. In I think it was 1973, I lived in 3 different states, had multiple jobs, just really was living a rough life. So I've talked about that, how it all came about in 1975, the spring of 1975. I was living on the Morningside Drive area of North Highland Drive meets Morningside Drive in that general area. And I felt God telling me to just turn my life around, basically. So, and I did, and I began a big journey there. I believe the root cause of why I got into the drug culture is because I suffered from depression and I was self medicating. I've thought back on that, and uh, through the counseling that I've received since then, I realized how many times people self medicate through drugs or alcohol or immorality. I was never a big drinker, but I can't say I lived a very moral life up until that time in 1978. I had met and married my Christian husband. We've been married since then. We have 3 daughters, and of course, they're all adults by now. But in my book, they're very brief chapters. They are no more than a page or 2 page at a time because each chapter is a separate event in my life that leads up to my counseling. And then how I've felt better ever since. I even got a college degree, and I thought, well, education will make me feel better. Uh, on After my children were up in their teen years, I went to college and got a degree. But uh, I was sitting on my couch one day, and we lived in South Carolina at the time, and I realized, well, I'm just a well-educated, depressed person. Uh, I really have got to get better at solving my depression. Where's the end? Where? And I wanted to keep on living and enjoying my family, my own life, and everything. And so I determined then that I would start on a better plan of self improvement. I mean, education is a good thing, but it doesn't solve your mental health issues. So in my book, my first chapter actually starts out with, "You are valuable," and you are wealthier than you think. And that is really has to do with you're a valuable person. And I've started out with that because I didn't believe that I had that much self-worth until I became more settled. I started living a more Christian life. I started reading the Bible more, and it came into my thinking. It's not that my parents didn't mean to tell me I wasn't valuable, but it was just the way that they saw life and their discipline of their 5 kids. Mostly my mother disciplined us. My dad was very aloof and disconnected to parenting. He saw his 5 kids as being bothersome to him throughout most of my childhood. It was later that he began to enjoy some fatherhood and seeing how nice and pretty good that we all 5 turned out to be. And can't say can take a whole lot of credit for it. It was mostly on my mom to raise us, and she also had a full-time job. And so I go into this, all my background. And I grew up right here in the general area where I live now, in Western North Carolina, a place that I've always called home. I've got a few pictures in here of Jeff and I, and then our 3 girls as they were growing up. I think I've got a picture or 2 of my grandchildren in here. I have 2 granddaughters I love and keep up with. But we are just everyday humble people. I've not written above or outside the realm of what your average person can read. I do believe that uh, that this book will help you. It's a simple written book. If I could come to you and speak in person, then you can get in touch with me and we'll see if we can work that out through my webpage, which is www.patriciajordan493.com, which you can also buy my book there. You can buy my book on Amazon.com, of course, BAM.com, and my own personal webpage. And I think it's also available on barnesandnoble.com. It is not in their stores, but it is on their webpage. This is a self-published book. I put a few $1,000s into it, but I was so committed to getting my message out there because I believe depression is it's on the rise, and it's rampant. Children are running to and from every suggestion made to them to try to find and solve their own depression when they really just need probably some good counseling and to get settled down into who they are and the way that God made them and the way that God made all of us. And that was a journey that I had to go on myself. I hope you read my book and get in touch with me. Leave a review on Amazon if you do read it. That would help me out. Like this page. I'll try to do more, and we'll talk more about the book and some of the things that I've written in here. They're all brief chapters. Westbo did a great job of designing everything. I did take this picture. It's in the corner of my front yard where we've left a little wilderness area that reminds me of my childhood of going into the woods and finding these growing abundantly. I used to pick them and take them over to our mom and in our house. So that's probably why there aren't so many around anymore. Maybe that and developing. But I do have some wild lady slippers. That's what this is. And if you'll look in the background, that's a baby lady slipper. And it is growing this year a new bloom. So hopefully that'll be on my second book that I hope to be publishing maybe this fall or late fall at best. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to try to keep up a habit of doing some YouTubes, and would love to hear from you. There again, I'm Patricia A. Jordan, and you can get in touch with me through my personal webpage at patriciajordan493.com. Take care, and would love to hear from you. Bye-bye.